Hi, everyone. Natalie here. In our 20s, we live a big life, not thinking so much about maybe our health. In our 30s, well, maybe we do a little bit more. And then in the next few decades, things change. And maybe I need to pay a little bit more attention to the food I eat, how I exercise, how much I sleep, all of that. In fact, there are some very specific things that we can do in each decade of our lives that will help us not only live longer, but what we all really want, live healthier. For instance, in your 30s, did you know that you need to be building bone density? You're about to find out why that's so critical in your 30s and just how to do it. My guest today is Dr. Vonda Wright. She's a double boarded orthopedic surgeon. She's also the author of 5 books. I learned so much from her, and I know you're going to as well. We talk about building physical and mental hardiness at any age and how all of that adds up to a better life. Let's jump into this really great interview with Dr. Wright. Dr. Vonda Wright joining me now. And this is a topic I have been anxious to do. And I finally found you and said, now I get to do the topic, Dr. Wright.
I'm so glad to be with you. Thanks for having me.
Through the years, I gave you a little bit of my background, and many of my listeners know that I spent many years getting up in the middle of the night. And my mom used to say to me, Natalie, you're doing so much damage to your body. Your cells are going to pay the price because you're not sleeping well. But I want to get into through the decades, what we need to be doing. I probably did do a lot of damage. I should have listened to my mom, rule number 1. But what we need to do through the decades to take care of ourselves so that we can live a long life.
Absolutely. Well, I love the decade approach because when we speak to generally, then someone out there is going to be, yeah, that sounds good, but I'm only 20. So if we go through the decades, I'm just going to choose a couple priorities because there's so much we can do at every age to really prioritize ourselves. But here's one that is a mindset item that I would really want everybody listening today to really put into their heart and soul. And this is this. You are worth the daily investment in your health. You are worth the daily investment in your health. Because here's what women do, no matter what roles or hats or shoes, as we like to frame how many jobs we have, we will take care of everyone but ourselves first, whether it's people in our own homes, people in our jobs. It's when we say yes, when we really mean no. That is taking care of prioritizing someone first. Ladies and gentlemen, you are worth the investment in your health because here's what I know, and you hear it a lot lately, but when I started saying this out loud 15 years ago or so, people were thinking, oh my God, it's so true. Unless you take care of yourself first and fill your own cup, you cannot outpour into other people. So even if you are the most altruistic person in the world and say, yeah, but I got to take care of other people, take care of yourself first because you are worth it. But what does that mean in your 20s? You and I were just talking about this. I have children in their 20s too. And if you do one thing while you're out there having fun and living your youthful exuberance, slather your whole body multiple times a day with the sunscreen, right? I have a daughter in her 20s too, like you do. And I'm like, Corey, please. You have beautiful skin.
You
Please,
have
let's
to.
preserve it. And sometimes they do and sometimes they don't. So there is that. But if you choose one thing, please do that, people in their 20s. But what if you're now in your 30s? And I'm going to tell you, I thought when I was in my 20s that 30 was so old, but that is just, you haven't even hit your stride yet. And I think millennials understand that it's a time to invest in yourselves because we see that millennial women are not settling down right out of college like my generation did. They're investing in themselves for 10 years or so before they settle down. So while you're investing in yourselves from a orthopedic surgeon perspective, because of course that's what I am, I want you to build your bone density. That means get out there, jump around, run, jump off of things, do stair climbing, choose activities that are impact. Sometimes I say you got to go bash your bones, but I think people think that means hurt yourself. No, but bones respond to the impact. So please go do that. Now is the time to build your bone density.
Why is that in your 30s? I mean, is that it just important in your 30s, or is it important as teenagers and 20s and 30s, or is something happening in our bodies in our 30s?
It's your last chance, ladies and gentlemen, because what bone density you accumulate by the time you're 30 is what you get. The rest of our lives, it's spent maintaining that. So whether you're actually impacting your bones or building lean muscle mass, which actually pulls against the bones to deposit more minerals, now's the time to do it. But to answer your question, yes, let's do it in our 20s. In our teens, we want to be careful about our growth plates.
Hmm.
So we don't want to overload those. But in our 20s, when our growth plates are closed, and definitely in our 30s, it's your last chance, people. Build a better bone structure because you'll need it the rest of your life.
And your 60, 70, 80-year-old self will appreciate that, because that's when we start hearing about grandma fell down, she broke her hip, these things, right?
And let's
So is
put
that
that in
bone density?
context.
Okay.
Absolutely. When grandma and grandpa fall down and break their hips, sometimes from a standing position, 50% of the time, they will not return to pre-fall function, which means grandma has to move out of the house
Mm,
that you've always visited. And grandpa will die 30% of the time.
mm.
So I know it's hard to think that far ahead. In fact, people can't think that far ahead.
We don't. And that's why I wanted to do this.
Mm.
Like, we don't, when we're in our 20s, and tell me if you found differently, we're invincible. We're like, I can do whatever I want. I'm good. I can, go party and eat whatever I want. I'm not gaining weight when I eat. I mean, not for everyone, but for the most part. But thinking of those things and creating that mindset at a young age will help you, tell me if I'm wrong, not only live longer, but healthier along the way.
Well, and I'm talking about this a lot lately. In fact, Monday I'm talking about it in front of a big group of people, the difference between health span and lifespan. So if we
Yes.
stop at our
Okay.
30s, and we'll get to our 40s and 50s soon, but the lifespan right now, life expectancy right now is 79.8 years. And if you're a woman, it's over 80. And if you live in Japan, it's 85 already, but it's high right now, a long time. Comparing that to at the turn of the century when our life expectancy was 40-ish, right?
Mm,
So we've doubled our
yeah.
life expectancy in this 100 years. But here is the part B. Our health span, that portion of our lives that we live healthy without a deep burden of illness, is only 62. So I ask you, unless you accept the mindset change that you are worth the daily investment in your health at every age from 20, 30, 40, 50, you get to 62 and you're feeling okay. And that's when the ravages of chronic disease first rearing their ugly heads,
Mhm.
hypertension, heart disease, breast cancer incidence increases, all the things we die from in this country present to the point where you must address them in your 60s. So what does that mean? 20 years of our lives we're busy dying, not living? No, not under Dr. Vonda Wright's watch, right? So all these things we're talking to you about today are about increasing our health span to match our lifespan,
Right. Yep.
right?
That just so important. I want to feel good through my 50s and not like I did
Absolutely.
damage, which now I know I
Mhm.
did, getting up in the middle of the
Aw.
night. But let's move into 40s, 50s,
And
60s
beyond, right?
quickly. But along the way, I want to talk about if we can reverse any of the damage that we've done. So, okay, so I got up in the middle of the night. I had poor sleep quality for many years. Can I reverse any of that? But let's go ahead. We'll get to that.
Yes. So the short answer is yes. Thank God. Yes. So what are we going to do in our 40s? Well, people, if you get to 40, which is miraculous, it's a miraculous time of life. Not that you get to 40, but that you get to live in your 40s, because
Yeah.
I call your 40s your critical decade, because you've gotten out of your 30s. Hopefully you've gotten out of your parents' house. If not, no shame, but most of us by the time we're 40, we were like enough of being parented and we're out. It is the critical decade to get your health together. If you have ignored it your whole life, now is the time. Get your physical, your first adult physical. Women, you must get your mammogram. You now must get your colonoscopy when you're 45. Now's the time when you can get stronger than you ever were. If you've ignored your health all through your 30s, don't despair. You have plenty of time in your 40s, but you got to get serious now, because if
Yeah.
you don't get it together by the time you're 50, it is harder once your hormone levels change. So the 40s are a critical decade. Get a primary care doctor, get your mammogram, get your colonoscopy. But here's something else we need to do. Women start to be perimenopausal, meaning our hormones fluctuate a lot as we approach menopause, which on average happens at age 51. So it is the time to really figure out what your body is doing. How do you feel about hormone replacement therapy? I recommend everybody in their 40s read a book called Estrogen Matters by Avram Blooming and Carol Tavris. I've had them on many of my own programs, and it's fascinating because I don't know about you. I don't have the time nor interest to read every original study myself. So thank God these people
Let somebody do
have
it.
digested it
Yeah.
and put it into language that you and I can digest.
This is such an important topic. So I just want to pause for a second, go back a little bit. First of all, I just remember being in my 20s and having kids in my 30s thinking, that is so far out there. Like, I'm not thinking anything about that's old people, right? Like,
No.
what? And now it's like all my friends. And I don't remember my mom going through this. I don't remember talking about this as a young person to where it was, oh, that's going to happen to me. So now I turned 50 this year. And how does one know, oh, this is me? Is it weight changes? Is it mood swings? I mean, when do you're telling me we need to think about this in our 40s and be
Mhm.
prepared for it.
Mhm.
So that's why I want to talk about it now. It's
Yeah.
not that far off, ladies, no matter where you are.
Ladies, just like you went through menarche, which is your first period, and through puberty, and then you went through the fertility period and you went through, trying to either get pregnant or avoid pregnancy. And that's all we thought about hormones. Menopause is coming. I mean, but the reason we never heard about it, even as a surgeon, I went through medical school, there was really nothing on it, is because our mother's generation didn't talk about it and it's shrouded in shame. Instead of standing on a mountaintop and saying, oh my God, this is a second spring, which is the way the Chinese culture views this time of life as the second spring. We finally get to do what we want to do. It's hidden. So that's why in this country, we haven't heard about it. But the good news is lots of people like you and me and practically everybody's talking about menopause now. So I encourage women in their 40s to start listening to podcasts like yours or like mine, or like, there's so many good voices out there talking about what comes next, because you can't avoid it. You don't want to avoid it.
No, you want to feel like this is my second spring. This is
It
fine.
is.
This is,
Mhm.
and it's not this shock. I'm old now, because it shouldn't be that at all.
Well, here's my philosophy, and I'm trying to pivot the entire language around aging. All of my research has been around musculoskeletal aging, and I have always talked out against anti-aging. Because listen, from the minute of conception to the minute of our death, the most natural process of living is aging. I mean, every moment of our life, 1,440 moments or minutes a day, we are aging. So, what really matters is not that we're aging, it's how we live. So, my mantra is live more in every moment. We are going to optimize whatever age we're at. It doesn't matter. I'm 54. You shared that you're 50. I'm 54. And frankly, I have enough candles on my birthday cake to set off the fire alarm. So it's not about being anti-aging or what age I am. It's living more every moment, squeezing the life out of life.
Right. Yeah.
And I think that's what you're about too.
Someone told me a statistic once that stuck with me, and yet I won't give the exact because I won't remember it, but that our age and how we feel has more to do with our genetics than it does how we treat ourselves. And I have a really hard time believing that, because I
No,
know
that's
how
not
I eat
true.
and how.
I
So
think that's
tell me the
backwards.
difference.
That's
Tell me the
backwards,
difference
actually.
in that. And I felt that in my gut. I'm like, how can
Yeah.
that be?
So you're born with a blueprint of DNA, which, you inherit half from your father, half from your mother. But I'm surprised at that someone told you that. In my circles, it's estimated that only about 30% of your health and aging is predetermined by your genetics. Everything else is lifestyle. And even the 30% of your genes that predisposes you to certain diseases, or what you look like, or how fast you gray, can be changed through epigenetics, which is, to get a little methylation of the DNA by your behaviors. So, for instance, whether or not you eat broccoli and it releases all its cytochemicals into your body, that is a decision that affects the way your genes are transcribed, because our DNA is just a blueprint. What turns on and off is determined by our lifestyle largely. So, this message that I'm saying to you is actually very hopeful versus being very pessimistic. You can control large segments of your health and aging and be healthy, vital, active, joyful across your lifespan. If you believe, let's return to the very first statement I made to you, that you are worth the daily investment in your health.
Give me a couple of other things. I love that. And I'm really glad for you to set that record straight because your genetics are a little bit, but you can have that hope that you really can make a difference. So give me a couple of other very specific things at any age that we can do to help ourselves. I know you are a big believer, as am I, in quality sleep, but give me a
Mhm.
couple of other things from foods to different
Yeah.
types of exercise or whatever you would like to give us.
So I think the information out there, especially if you believe Dr. Google, is really overwhelming, right? So I try to really simplify it because I have found in my own life that I can focus on one life change at a time. So I know you're a big proponent of sleep because you didn't get any during your youth and neither did I, right? And we can talk about that ad nauseum, but let's talk about one thing you can do nutritionally and one thing you can do from a movement standpoint. And now I'm an orthopedic surgeon, and so I used to rank mobility over smart nutrition. I have found now that I need to pivot that. And the first thing I ask people do is to eliminate added sugar and simple carbs from their life. If you go to the cupboard right now and pull off any box and turn it over, you will see a line that says added sugar. Now, why
Mm,
in the world does bread need added sugar? But all simple carbs, all white carbs, anything that's processed, easy digestible, has a ton of sugar. So I have done this in my own life. I am not asking you to do anything I haven't done, but I am asking you to sugar detox. Sugar inflames your body, it clouds up your brain, it makes your joints stiff, it can give you diabetes and a variety of other diseases. So if we're going to do one thing, we sugar detox. And I usually lead people in this over a 10-day process at which you will find yourself going to the cupboard, opening it up, and
mm,
staring for no reason at something. Well, that is your sugar addiction looking for sugar. We will get
yeah.
past that. And by day 7, 8, 9, your taste buds will not even crave it anymore. So
Yeah.
that's the one
Yeah.
nutritional thing before you do anything else. And so, what does it mean for me to not eat added sugar? I eat a lot of green leafy vegetables and lean protein, and you don't even miss it after a while. So that's number one. Number two, if you're going to choose one thing to do mobility wise, first, I could tell you all kinds of things to get your heart rate up and to exercise. I don't even use the word exercise. People hate it so much. So let's go even before that. If you're going to choose one thing to do, I'm going to tell you to build your lean muscle mass because fat is a noxious metabolic organ that secretes all kinds of chemicals that are going to kill you. Even 1 gram of fat we find in mice experiments has a huge impact on your entire metabolism. So if we can exchange more muscle for fat, we're going to be great because muscle burns more calories. It
You
keeps us
bet.
strong. It helps produce great chemicals that help us with our longevity. And notice I didn't say go lose some weight. It's not about weight because if you're gaining muscle, you probably won't lose weight because fat weighs a lot less than muscle. But by going and lifting things, it doesn't have to be in a gym, but it can be. You can lift children, you can lift chairs, you can lift anything in your house, barrel bags of potatoes. We need to build lean muscle mass, and then the rest will follow.
What if you didn't do those things, as you mentioned, 20s and then the 30s when you really talked about that? Say in your 50s, you're like, okay, I've decided I want to turn my life around. I
Yeah,
really want to do this.
yeah.
Okay to just start, cut out the sugar, start lifting things.
There, number one, there is never an age or skill level when your body will not respond. Your body is meant to respond to the positive stress put on it. So the short answer is yes. The long answer is if you haven't done anything for a lot of years, why don't you get checked by your PCP first and make sure you're going to tolerate it? Then let's just start. It is not dangerous to cut out sugar, and it is not hard to start lifting things around your house, right? And then there's lots of resources. You're a resource. I've written 5 books about this type of thing. So you just have to start. Don't be afraid by Go Go. Don't be afraid about that. Just do it.
I love it. I'm so motivated by this because for most of my career, I was on television. So I was
Yes.
motivated to fit into those suits that I bought in my
Oh, of
20s.
course. Yeah.
And I know you know this. We all do, unfortunately, because it's the society we live in. Is okay. This is funny, and I can't believe I'm going to admit this. My daughter was looking for some jeans to wear for 70s day at school. I go digging in a box. I can't believe I'm admitting this. I have kept a pair of blue jeans from my college days because they're my motivation. I mean, I literally kept them and went, one day and I looked at those jeans and I went, why am I doing that to myself? I want to feel good. I don't care if I fit into but we do that to ourselves when actually the motivation should be, I just want to wake up and feel good and have energy and have strong muscles, not fit into something.
Well, I couldn't agree with you more, although I do have to admit that I do have the jeans I wore in New York when I was in a fellowship when I was 40 at that time, but I was in the best shape of my life. I do still have that because I believe I can get back there. Whether or not I actually do the
I
work
believe
to
I
do
can
that.
too, but I
Yeah.
want to feel good first.
Right. So, these things I've talked to you about, the sugar, the sleep, the lean muscle mass. I'm going to tell you that before I figured out my own menopause journey and added hormone replacement treatment, which is something I decided to do after reading this book I recommended to you, I would get out of bed and feel really achy and stiff and brain foggy. But now that I made these small changes, I don't eat sugar. I decided that for me, hormone replacement therapy was the correct thing to do. I have built my lean muscle mass. Oh, and I protect my sleep like you do. I get out of bed and I used to say I feel 26. I feel about 39 right now. I mean, I am 54 and I feel really amazing. And I agree with you. That's what's it about. I want to feel
Yeah.
great every day.
Yeah. I completely agree. Let's make that our motivation more
Yeah.
than anything, because when we're in our 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, God willing, we would
Mhm.
just want to feel good and be
That's
healthy.
right. Mhm.
Yeah,
I want my body to feel as great as my brain does now that I've
absolutely.
totally accepted myself that's a beautiful thing about the 50s. I'm like, I am really great the way I am. Don't tell me who I need to be. I get to be
Yeah,
authentic and indefinable.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
Oh, I've learned so much. Can't wait to go back over this and take notes. And I'm going to link a whole bunch of the things, including your
Thank
books,
you.
to our show notes for people. But I have a couple of questions I like to
Yes.
ask everyone. And the first one, so you're a doctor, which by the way, you're in an area of medicine that not a lot of women go into, right?
6%. Mhm.
That's amazing.
And that's
Um,
doubled over my career from 3%.
wow. Okay, so that will probably come up here in a second with my second question. But the first question, what's your favorite tool? You have a lot on your plate, from a
Mhm.
podcast to being a surgeon
Mhm.
to everything else. What's your favorite tool for productivity?
Sometimes people do ask me how I get it all done.
Yeah, I want to
And
know.
yeah, there are lots of ways. It could be a whole podcast unto itself. But what I tell young professional women is that you do not have to do it all. I delegate a lot of things in my life. If I have 1 hour free in my life, I would rather hire someone to help me clean my house than buy a new purse, right? If I have to choose where I spend my money, I am going to choose things that buy me time because I can never get my time back. So if I have a tiny bit of money, I am going to find somebody to help me buy more time. And in doing that, become more productive
And
and
that
less
allows you to
stressed
grow. Yeah,
and
I
less
love that.
stressed out. Yeah.
That I've never heard it defined that way. Where choosing to buy the purse versus this. I've heard many people say, I'm going to leverage myself like that. But I'm the same way. I'm like, I'll go buy what I need at TJ Maxx so that I can hire someone to do some things for me because my time is
Absolutely.
so precious.
Yes, that's
Okay.
right.
And then my second question is, when did you know your purpose? And I'm one who believes that can change throughout our lives, but did you know that at a young age that you wanted to be an orthopedic surgeon?
No, in fact, my first career in medicine was as a cancer nurse. To shorten the story that really defined my pathway is when I was a cancer nurse in the 90s, nurses got to take care of the same patients every time they were in the hospital. So you had deep professional relationships with them. And when I was 24, I was a very young woman at the time. I was taking care of this woman. After 6 months, she was not going to make it through the night. And you know that when people are not going to make it. But her family was so faithful that not only did I get to know the woman, but I got to know her whole family. And on this woman's last night, I knew she was waiting on her family. This family came in and they were dressed in their wedding clothes because the sister was going to be married that day. So here in front of this 24-year-old's life, right? I'm standing at the door watching this family. You have a woman who is at the end of her journey and her sister who is at the beginning of her next part of her journey. And it just made it so clear to me that life is precious and not guaranteed. And that if I could do anything, if I was given the gift to tell story, if I was given the gift to help people, if I can motivate people to know that they are worth the daily investment in their health, that I had to do it because life is short. It is not guaranteed, and we are worth the daily investment in ourselves. And that's what drives me every day to get out of bed and make the proverbial donuts, if you will. I am going to do
Wow.
that purpose.
What a beautiful story. I mean, I got chills. My eyes welled up. What a beautiful story. And I couldn't agree with you more.
Yeah.
I love your journey and what you're telling people. And I wish we had more time, but let's do it again. Okay.
Let's do it. Let's do
We will
it.
have many more topics to talk about because there are plenty out there where we can inspire people. But where can people find you and learn more?
Yes. So I mainly communicate on Instagram. So it's at Dr. Vonda Wright, at Dr. Vonda Wright. And that's one place. I have a website by the same name, Dr. Vonda Wright, Dr. Vonda Wright. But I've started a new community out of my nonprofit work. My nonprofit is called Women's Health Conversations. But out of that, I've started a new community called Ageless Life. And I've spelled it phonetically, AJLES period life, because I am so convinced that we can be ageless, authentic, and indefinable, that I want to surround myself by a community of people that believe that, the best is yet to come. So you will find all of that at Ageless Life.
Wonderful. Well, I encourage people to follow you, and I just appreciate your inspiration and your expertise and your passion. And I do look forward to talking to you again really soon.
Thanks for having me today.